I'll be honest with you, I'm on one today. Because as you guys know, I always have this campaign that's to save the cinemas, and that's no exception for me. Delivering to you, let's save the cinema. It creates jobs for some of our youth and even some of our middle-aged Americans out there. But me being a movie lover and more specific to the genre of horror, thrillers, and suspense, I had one that I was waiting for since the wintertime. I knew it was coming, so I purchased my advance tickets and I said, hey, this one ain't gonna disappoint. I know from the trailer, I know from the casting that this is gonna be one for the books. So I waited, the calendar flipped, I waited, the calendar flipped, and here it comes. And I saw it in one of the best theaters, as I call it, with the arrogant Dolby Cinema and Pictorial experience. So I get in the movie and you start to see the melanin on the camera. And yes, I'm talking about a black female as the lead role of the film. Spoiler alert for anybody out there. This is my spoiler alert for you. I'm talking about Quiet Place. And I'll have to say it was mid. For some, it may have been fantastic. And the concept alone, A Quiet Place, makes it awesome. Just makes it awesome. It's a twist that you probably never seen in cinema. The fact that not only us as the viewers have to be quiet, the actors, the directors, the people in front and behind the cameras, for the sake of sound and delivery, to bring you in and to pull you in the picture, you got to be quiet. But yet there comes the character development of a black female. Beautiful, by the way. But yet it's something about what she sells you when her eyes come to marry the lens. It was beautiful. And her ability to deliver on film when it comes to suspense, horror, and giving you all kind of facials, she's that one. Oh, but wait. This is what I have a problem with. So just right off the bat, not saying that this is a true critique of the movie, but just my vantage point. And I'm sure some of you may agree or disagree, but let's just go there and I'm going to try to keep it cute. The movie was mid, and here's why. Concept, dope. Casting, the lead, phenomenal. Okay, but here we go again. Are you tired, or are you sick and tired? Or why is it that when there is a black lead in the SAG-AFTRA, the writing, the academies, right? The board of who says this deems to be whatever stars you want to put a movie at, the Siskel and Eberts of the world, maybe they're in existence, maybe they're not. Now, with all types of media and shock media today, you get all kinds of reviews, but this is old Don Don. So in this movie, it was the typical, right? Not that the black woman slipped and fell over a leaf, broke her ankle, and the boogeyman came to get her. No, that wasn't it. She was very sharp. And I won't do a total spoiler because I do like to leave some fascination and imagination for yourself to witness. So my recommendation is go see it, but here's where I'm going. Why is it that when in cinema, when you have a black lead, there becomes someone of the opposite hue to be the savior complex? That's no exception for Quiet Place. And I want to leave you with the cliffhanger, pardon me, but I'll just say this. I'm about damn tired of getting the character building process for us to look at Hollywood as you have. It is a must. This is the fundamental tenet of movie writing and script delivery, that we have to have someone of the opposite hue to make this a banger. I don't recall one black person in a Titanic coming and saving the day, or throwing a lifesaver out there, or handing somebody a flotation device going, hey, save yourselves, I'm going down with the ship. I don't recall that being the case in Superman, where a black man went and grabbed the kryptonite and said, hey, Superman or Clark Kent, save yourself. I'm going to demolish this kryptonite. Go save the world. But for some odd reason, if you just look in the history of black cinema, and this ain't hate at all. It's just my question is why? And if you have an answer for that, my next question is, why is that? And I kind of want to get to the root cause of why there is in Hollywood someone of the opposite hue when you have a lead black actor. that someone of the opposite hue have to come and save the day. Just in case you guys didn't know, I'm Dante, also known as Mecca Don, the Don Mecca. Some may call me Coach, but if you know, you do know. And it's still under review. The verdict is still out, but some may call me Ref. But if you do know, hey, listen, hey, yo, I'm getting kind of excited. Some call me Ref, but if you know, right? Some call me Rick James. Why? Because I'm cold-blooded. In a true hedonism fashion, I always like to start out with gratitude, and that's no exception for today. So let me just say this. There's hundreds and thousands, and I've even had people to reach out to me and go, hey, yo, Don, I've been inspired by your podcast, and I do encourage you, if you have something on your mind, if there's something you're sharp at, or if it's something you just want to get off on your chest and you got a phone, whether it be an Android, I don't know why y'all doing that, but if you do have an Apple phone, an iPhone, or even a laptop to some degree, just put the camera on and record and get into it. I tell you, it's therapeutic. All you have to do is try. So what am I saying? There's hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands, maybe even in the millions of millions podcasts out there. But for those of you, whether the numbers be large or more intimate or nimble, I'm grateful for you guys for always tuning in. Hey guys, we're in the age of cancel culture, judged by the court of public opinion, and I'm sure that's no exception for what's going on in this climate, in this world. And today, you can't even cough or pass gas without being on a spotlight. Listen, there's technology probably on every corner in your subdivisions, in your apartment condo, in your closed gated communities, and even on some of these streets that some of y'all think you are outside, that you're outside. Hello, that you're outside, meaning that you're wilding, and there's no consequences to that form of wilding. There are cameras and audio, for that matter, everywhere. But nonetheless, in today's pod, if I drop a noun, an adjective, a pronoun that could be out of place, or even an expletive, please don't hold me to it. You guys know what it is. I'm just here to pod. I got in my bag in the beginning of last pod, and I will say, it was a C.O.E. conspiracy type thing, right? I said, hey, yo, if the aliens come, what would we do to educate them on culture? More specifically, hip hop. I said there would probably be 2 records or 2 albums that I would give them, and that's Jay-Z's 444 and Childish Gambino, This Is America, right? Just so they can understand a little history in the talent form and entendres and also bars, if you will. But something about that Childish Gambino, his ability to put art form on camera is just phenomenal to me. But I have an alarm clock for what some could be, and I'm not a total all-in, let's talk about music pod, but I don't shy away from that thing that I love. As you guys know, I go by Mecca Don, the Don Mecca, and that's no exception for the skills on the ones and the twos. But I got somewhat of somebody that I want to point out because in this climate, and also just coming off of the BET Awards, and by the way, the ladies was running the joint. Who run the world? Girls. I love that beat, by the way. But anyway, speaking of the ladies, the women, or should I say, there's a refreshing and delightful sound that I want to put you guys on Game 99 for, and I will be honest with you, I'm hooked. 2 women, Elena Rogers out of M-Town, Black Haven or White Haven, Memphis, Tennessee, and Alana Lindsay out of Los Angeles. They got a new joint called GAWD. And I discovered them by mistakes right after the pandemic. They were opening up for Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're also in conjunction with Anderson .Paak and the Free Nationals. So you know right there, we're talking about talent. And you're not just going to put somebody on your playbill if they're whack, right? But I'll be honest with you. These ladies are starting out kind of independent, if you will. They don't have a machine behind them. But I'm going to tell you right now, catch them while they're in their early stages, because as you remember Destiny's Child, in their growth and development, we got some raw vocals. We got raw, nasty, on point synchrony but amongst those sisters. And when they developed into the Destiny's 2.0 child, if you will, and then the maturation of Beyonce and Kelly Rowland, for that matter. I mean, they were like sisters. We know Beyonce and Solange are what they are, but the Kelly Rowland factor into the Destiny's Child and the maturation of Beyonce, out of this world. But these ladies that I'm talking about, they have a new joint called High Class, and I think you would love it. Check it out and support it. They will not disappoint. All I got to say is cocoa butter. And I'll say it again, cocoa butter. But I'll have to tell you, when it comes to a day and age where you want to hear vocals, where you want to hear that strong and smooth vibrato, and also the dual melody and the collaboration of a group, if you will. We're seeing a lot of solo artists pop out and do their things, and we're not really seeing duos and groups anymore. But I will say that these ladies are giving us retrofit for soul music, but yet they're putting a new twist on it. And the look is all of that. And no, they're not sisters, but you know how you put two artists together and they start to mature as if they are one. I don't think they'll disappoint with that. But speaking of the women, right, and who run the world, right? So the BET Awards just concluded not too long ago, and there's mixed reviews out there. I'm always here for the critiquing of the BET Awards, because I'm always fascinated at people's take and vantage point on the BET Awards. First of all, it's good to see that BET does not put ageism, right, when it comes to the delivery of Black entertainment television. So with that being said, the BET Awards took place recently in LA at the Peacock Theater. And yes, she came back. Host Taraji P., right? The beautiful Taraji P. Henson was the host for the BET Awards. And I'll be honest with you, y'all ain't right. Y'all been killing Taraji, but I'll say this. Well, I'll get into that, but let's talk about a little bit, because I'm not here to do a full recap. It's plenty of podcasts and plenty of blogs out there, and people are vlogging about the BET Awards. So I'm not here to kill it. So if you're here for that, I'm sorry. You might want to go forward a little bit. But Usher was the Lifetime Achievement Award honoree, and I'll have to say, standing O to Usher, right? And it was rightfully deserved, if you will. But I'll have to address a couple of things that people don't know, because people were killing the BET Awards. They were calling it ghetto. They were calling it trash. They were calling it mid. Some people say it was a hoochie mama fest. But I did hear precisely in the wintertime that a lot of these women did say it was going to be hot girl summer. I mean, they did tell you they were coming. Right, the Cardi B's of the world, the Sexy Reds of the world, the Big Glow, the Big Mama. I think they told y'all the Remy Ma and the Freestyle, the Rhapsodies of the world, right? I think the Victoria Monets of the world. I think they did tell y'all that it was going to be a hot girl summer. And last time I checked, it's been in the high 90s over the last 10 days. So what do you expect out in LA? But let me just point out a couple of things, pardon me, that I want to address about the BET Awards, because a lot of people just think that you can just witness something and then come out and kill it. But let me tell you a couple of things that you may not understand or know about the entertainment industry. Popularity, egos, and brands are contributing factors to a live broadcast. And yes, I'm talking about the BET Awards and how it was set up and how it went down. I think some people felt that it was start, stop, start, stop. First of all, one thing that you cannot dispute is the BET Awards compared to the MTV Awards, compared to some of the other award shows, need I say the Oscars, right, or the Grammys, and some of the performances. BET over the last decade, and going back to Deborah Lee's campaign with BET, I'll have to say they've been crushing the set designs. They bared no expense when it came to delivering a live show with certain individuals. Now, whether your class and criteria of an artist is fully developed, right? And I'm talking about pop, like Michael Jackson, Prince status, like Beyonce status, right? Jay-Z status, or a Dre, if you will, status, right? Some people don't need all the pyro, right? Some people just need, like Prince, all you need is a stool and an acoustic, and maybe even a one light and a guitar, unplugged, and they kill it. They crush it, right? Some people just have that gift and likeness, right, where you don't need all of the smoke and mirrors to call it a great performance. But I'll say it again for the cheap seats: popularity, ego. Those are two buttons that are not on a soundboard or a visual board to make a live award show what it should be. But these are all contributing factors into a live broadcast. And for some of you that were impatient and was like, oh my gosh, these commercials, BET go crazy with the commercials. One thing I got to salute to BET is this: the sponsorship and some of the branding in the commercials, I will have to say now, looks like inclusivity and rightfully aligned sponsorship, right? It wasn't just somebody thrown in there, right? Like you had Dove. And for those that don't know, Dove really stand behind the brand of the Crown Act, right? So there were some sponsors, Walmart, and when it comes to contributions in small Black-owned businesses being in our communities, I'll have to say those were some of the contributing factors. And also, I got to shout out St. Paul, Minneapolis, and also Minnesota for Target and their collaboration with certain brand owners that I know personally that are in Target and has been running now for well over a half a decade. So shout out to some of the sponsors that did align. And Nissan, y'all came through. I mean, you guys were doing live concerts via some of your rollout vehicles during the red carpet, and also the sponsorship during and going to commercials was phenom. And I'll just have to say this, MC Light, hey, it's booked, lock it in, rip the knob off. You got the gig. I mean, for you to go from paper thin, right, to now being the voice of the award show, lock it in, rip the knob off. Like, we don't need nobody else. Like all applicants, please freeze or go to another award show. We love Light and her enunciation on individuals. I mean, she was naming cats from Nigeria, right? And the Amapiano genres and certain genres of the Africa bass music genre, if you will, and she was enunciating and pronouncing their names correct. And I'm like, go ahead, Light, I see you. So these are the intricate details that I don't think people look at when it comes to a live award show. You only get one shot live. Now, you can do many rehearsals leading up to that, but again, with the popularity, people schedule, and a lot of people are on tour during the summer so they can sit down during the fall, right? Because they know things kind of amp up when it comes to entertainment right around the fall, getting into when those leaves start to drop and boredom start to kick in. Football season, a lot of live events are going on during the fall where the weather is kind of fair during that time of the year. But to get everybody on the court, to even do mic checks and all of those things, again, people killing it and don't really realize the intricate details that it actually take to put on a live show, let alone the brand, Black Entertainment Television, and a live award show. So that has a little bit to do with the lengthiness of the award show. So people relax on killing them with the commercials, right? They do have to do set designs and change, right? This ain't a motion picture studio. This is actually the Peacock Theater, which is only so big, right? So you got to work with what you got. But one thing that I have to say right now, these may be some cons or little negative Nathan in me talking about entertainment, right? We're talking about Black entertainment, right? The second word in BET, right? The entertainment aspect, which this is subjective, right? And thought-provoking, right? So let me go there. I don't think entertainment is no longer about talents, gifts, and I'll say it, even showmanship. Some people are who they are because of their N, I, and L, their name, image, and their likeness. And a lot of times it's about how do I trend, right? We got people like Country Wayne who are successful for trending. You have people like DC Youngfly who came up through the Vine era, and a lot of influencers now as they go by, or content creators that are now that have arrived in the M category, right? When it comes to pay bracket, because they came up during a certain time. So now sometimes it's about how do I trend and how do I become popular? You guys remember POP holding it down? Like, we haven't said that. I don't know if we know where it was. Donna Goodo. Have we heard from her? Oh, Goodo, what's up? Pop out and show us what you're doing, right? POP holding it down. Mama, I love you. Right? Like, those were trends. Where the money reside? Where the money reside? Right? Like, these are trends. These are things that came like weather and passed through like a storm. They came through, tore up numbers, and then they were out of here. And we didn't see anything else about it. Now, there is a dodo out there. I got to call him out because it was trending. And y'all remember your boy.
I'm not gay no more. 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 I am delivered. I'm delivered. I don't like men no more. I said I like women. I said I like women. I will love a woman.
Yeah, him. I'm not gay no more. I am delivered. I mean, him. Like, these are trends that we're talking about, right? And people are still, or I should say influencers. Are they people or influencers? I don't know. I want to be politically correct. Again, I'm just here to pod. But some people use their NIL for their entertainment aspect now. Sometimes we get away from the gift. Right? Like, I'll just say this. This is subjective. Y'all gonna kill me, but it's all good. But Rhapsody by far is smoking a lot of MCs out there. I didn't say women. I said Rhapsody. And I'm sure her pronoun is she, her. I could be wrong, but I believe, right? If I'm wrong, pardon me. But Rhapsody is smoking a lot of MCs out there who are touching the mic. And she has an album out, and I know a lot of you guys haven't even heard of Rhapsody, but she's smoking a lot of MCs out there. But again, the entertainment factor, I don't know. It could be a thing of yesterday, but it's more so of how do I trend and how do I make that trend visible to others? Because some people that I see trending, when it comes for them getting outside of their norm of some of the things that they do to trend, don't really equate to an exciting person to witness. And again, this is subjective. I'm just giving you a perspective from old Don. And again, I'm here to pod. But then again, some of it is C.R.E.A.M and C.O.E, right? So these are acronyms. C.R.E.A.M used to be, thanks to Wu-Tang, Cash Rules Everything Around Me. Shout out to the golden years of hip hop, Dollar Bill, y'all. Y'all remember that, right? But it used to be C.R.E.A.M, Cash Rules Everything Around Me. But now it becomes more of the clout that rules everything around me. And C.O.E, thanks Flip, thanks Joe Budden Network, becomes content over everything, where people just get it how they live it, right? So some people, it's not about the entertainment factor. It's not even about the talent. Hell, some people don't even have sex appeal. They're just mad funny, which them dollars become sexy over a period of time. And not too much on them, back on me. My podcast analytics are what they are because I'm not the clout type, right? I'm not looking for the pie in the face or man tanning or tap dancing on a table to get numbers. This is organically therapeutic for me, right? So no matter the numbers, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So if you're doing it for everybody else, that could be the wrong reason and you could be a slave to the check. Let me say that again because that could help somebody. So if you're doing it for the check, you may not find happiness in it, right? So it's not always about the C.R.E.A.M or the C.O.E. Sometimes it's about what makes you feel good about blank. And that's for you to fill in. That's why I said there's hundreds and even thousands of podcasts out there. I even saw a guy that is putting on a how-to podcast clinic. Let me just say this. If you have to be told what to do to podcast or even to get in front of a camera, that may not be your thing. But let me remix that in such a way of, if you have a passion and you may want to share with others, talking about your passion may be your niche. That could be the one thing that grabs everybody's attention. For example, I love interior design. You guys would never know that. However, if I start to go on a pod or a vlog or even a lifestyle channel about interior design, you guys would be like, oh my, I didn't realize you paint. I didn't realize you match drapes with pillows and pillows with little intricate details. But yet you never know something about somebody until they pop out and show you that talent that they may have. But is it about talents and gifts anymore and showmanship? Or is it about the C.R.E.A.M and the C.O.E? So again, my numbers are what they are in my podcast because it's sometimes it's challenging. I won't say difficult, right? Because, you know, faith can actually give you the energy to make something that doesn't exist happen, right? But I will say this, that it's somewhat challenging to captivate a world and an audience without drama, right? Being the clean cut with your shirt tucked in and having a neat line may not be what's popular, right? But taking a pie in the face or doing something dodo and damn near foolish may run up the numbers. I'm not here for that, right? But then again, at the same time, talent may perceive to be as equal to what can bring in the dollars, which is sometimes TikToks are very hot, but I think it's for the kids, and I'm trying to stay out of that lane. TikTok is still here, but for that sake, sometimes you do have to reinvent and move with the wave of times. But right now, I'm still saying let the kids have it. And I'm talking about these 19-year-olds to, I would say, 30-year-olds, where they're really trying to find themselves and they're finding the bag. Hey, yo, cats my age, yo, move over in the right lane. Move over in the right lane. And if you guys know, if there's a 3-lane highway, right, those my age, we need to be in the middle or the right lane. Let these young cats have that left lane and stop trying to rule and regulate that left lane. Let these cats pass. And in addition to that, hit them with the salute, right? Let's not be haters. Let's not be haters. Let's in some form be cheerleaders. But yet, if there's a way we can show and direct without being rude and obnoxious, help direct and lead them in a direction where they can go, hey, yo, I got a little wisdom from somebody. And as a matter of fact, I see how they're rolling. I think I want to take a piece of that. Yeah, it may help, it may not. I'm just offering a little something and also doing my due diligence and letting you know, and also being a truth teller. But I will say this. Shock TV and shock vlogs and also shock podcasts can also help you win. Being trendy and certain trendy shock tops can also win. But again, if you're not a popular person or a trendy person, you may not get that viewership or that attention that you may be seeking for. So again, know if you're doing it for the love or for the paycheck, right? If you're doing it for the paycheck, you may not find that love and that hunger for it as some of you may be when doing it as much as you have to do to get things rolling in some normalcy. Because I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of unhappy people out there. You don't believe me? Go to the comedians. Go to the world of comedians, pardon me. Go to the world of comedians and you'll really see how dark it is to laugh and tell a joke. But in my understanding in this day and time and climate, shock value kind of wins, right? So we'll let them have it for what it is. But again, you got to know where your middle lane is and where your right lane is. Back to, as I derail, right? Getting back to the topic of the awards. And again, I'm not doing a full recap, but I want to do a temperature check and just be a truth teller in this aspect and this aspect alone. A lot of people are upset at the Black Entertainment Television Network. A lot of people are upset at BET. Hey, yo, hello, may I have your attention, please? Or can I do a PSA? Hey, yo, don't be mad at BET, right? Be mad at the art form, right? Because it's you, the individuals, and this ain't a dig. This ain't a dig. I just know what I see. You go to Starbucks and there's nobody with their legs crossed going, hey, didn't I see you here before? I mean, this ain't a come on, right? I'm talking about same gender or opposite gender. This ain't a come on, but hey, yo, didn't I see you here the other day? We keep running into each other. What's good? I'm Dante. Well, I'm so-and-so. Hey, yo, man, you want some coffee? What happened to that day and time? No, you know what's going on? It's not even enough seats because everybody has two things, right? Not a newspaper and a magazine. Y'all know what it is. Say it with me. They got a laptop and a cell phone. And I don't know if chiropractors are getting pizzade right now during this time and climate, but a lot of people's heads are down, their backs are hunched over, and their thumbs are going crazy, and their eyesight is probably getting bad, like mine. I do wear readers. But some people are probably straining to look at these cell phones for a certain amount of times. I'll tell you what. For you iPhone users, I'm going to piss you off, but hold your iPhones up. I got something. Hey, Siri, take me to screen time. Right? So I know all, you see what I'm saying? See, Siri just went crazy, and I know y'all phones went crazy. I apologize. I don't apologize. But at the same time, I'll be honest with you. If you look at your screen time, it's a truth teller about you. It ain't me telling about you. It's you seeing what you do. It's the action of what you have as a smartphone, as a mobile device. Control that screen time, and maybe you will find that it's interesting bird watching. What the hell is a squirrel gonna do? Has he made up his mind? Is he cha-cha sliding in the middle of the street? Is he tootsie sliding in the middle of the street? Squirrel, would you make up your damn mind? I tell you what, if I punch this gas, will you make up your mind then? And if you have any human blood in you, if you have any conscience about life. You may cringe if you know you possibly hit that squirrel, but come on, squirrel community. Don't come for me, squirrel community, but make up your damn mind. Are you in the middle of the street or are you on the right side of the street? Are you crossing the street? Make up your damn mind, squirrel. Did I really just go ham on the squirrel community? But let me get back to the point, right? Don't blame BET. Blame the art form. I just put the ball on the tee. It is what's trending, right? So we're watching an awards show, but did you take a minute to realize, is this entertainment or is this trending topics? Is this song actually a jam, or is it just that we hear it so much that the frequencies of our brain go, this is good? Is it a question? Or if you see 2 or 3 people doing it, you do it? Is it the old, if they take off running, I go running with them? Are we honest enough as consumers of the market of music to go, this is a bop, this is a slap? Because I'll be honest with you, mustard on the beat, yo. Before any words came out, everybody put them forearms up. And y'all got them duck feet out. And I'll be honest with you, y'all know y'all wanted to walk with it. Because I know I did. And my knees, if these knees could talk. But y'all know when y'all heard mustard on the beat. And when y'all heard Metro, y'all knew it was a bop. Right? It used to be back in the day, it used to be Kid Capri. It used to be Ron G. It used to be call outs that made you know it was on and popping. Now when you hear, if your Metro don't trust you, when you heard them drops, you knew it was going to be a slap. But now is it so much that our brains are programmed to know that it is what a TI is? Or are you truly entertained? In the words of the theater in the past, are you not entertained? Right? If I had Metro to do me an intro or a hook, y'all will be tuning in just for that. When you listen to Club Shay, all my life, pardon me, Nip, I didn't mean to jack up the joint. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. You know, when you hear Nip, it's first of all, salute, homage, right? And then you see Club Shay come on and you think this dude has reinvented himself. You either want to do 2 things. You want to see him fail or you want to see him win. Win. You want to see 1 or 2 things happen, right? Because we know the debacle from Undisputed to now First Take to now being his own proprietor. In Club Shay, we want to see 3 dubs, and that's a win, right? Or when you listen to the pivot, hold up, when you hear that West beat come in, or when you hear that melodic tone come in for some intros, it just gets your attention, and then you're like, all right, entertain me. And then when you start to think about the cash, you're like, calm down, the beat had me crunk. Now let's see what the content is about. Now some of you have already clicked out because I'm talkative, it's a pod, using my talents, taking my talents to audio and visual, right? It is a pod. But some of you go, entertain me. You got 8 seconds, go. And again, that's why that pie in the face, that shock value sometimes gives you what you want to see. Now, if you hear the term Cat Williams, you're like, oh, snap. He's going in. Let's see what he's talking about. If you hear Charleston White, you're like, oh, snap. Let's see what he's talking about. He's going in, right? It's certain individuals that you know when you hear Donald J. Trump, you're like, oh boy, what is he going to say? And you're tuning in for a train wreck or a rally call. You want to see one or the other. It's either this or that, right? But don't blame BET, blame the art form. So have you ever noticed how some well-known artists are not attending award shows anymore? Maybe because they have talent and they're resting their loins right now. Because they're not so much about the content over everything or the clout that rules everything around them. Some individuals know that my talent just sells. I'm skipping around, but if I could just go to 1 second of the Lifetime Achievement presentation or the lead up prior to Usher giving his dissertation or his speech. Usher, take all the time you need. It's called Lifetime. Not moment in time. No, Lifetime Achievement Award. Fam, you take all. And see, that's another thing. How y'all gonna kill Usher about taking so long talking because y'all wanted to get to L Boogie. Yeah, I did too. But let that man have his moment. We've been watching Usher since he was a knee high, right? We've been watching Usher since he was a teenager, a little teeny bopper. You make me wanna. We've been watching Usher since way back then. Little big ear Usher with the little curly hair. We've been watching Usher since way back then, right? Let that man have his moment. And he's had some triumphs, and he spoke about that. But let me tell you what I love, because I'm bouncing around. All of those black men that were up there that he called fathers in the industry when his biological father was absentee. And I'm paraphrasing because I could have it somewhat wrong because I didn't study the script. I followed him. He didn't want a sheet of paper. He wanted to speak about a moment in time. And I was listening in real time. And I have not went back and looked. I kind of wanted to take a one shot and give my narrative over. Some of you have been dissecting it. Let me tell you something. It was a live broadcast, right? For those of you that recorded the live broadcast, you may not get the next one because it'll be edited. But it was a moment in time to capture, and don't blame BET, blame the art form. So hence, while some of you may not be seeing the Jay-Z's and the Beyoncé's, right? And some of these known individuals, the Dre's, the Snoops, right? Some of these individuals at the award shows because they're no longer looking for that clout moment. If you're going to honor me, I'll show up, right? But some people are moving out of the way, hence my version of moving out of the way of some things like TikTok and other trendy things where you have to allow some of our youth to not be so competitive with grown-ass adults. It just becomes a bleeping headache. But some were surprised at the language during the awards, and it could be your old heads. Hold up. Don't be mad at the language. Don't be mad at BET. Again, a lot of people are pointing fingers. It's BET. Y'all, let's go. Let's go. We look for a reason. Let me take a sip. 1 second. I'm going to calm down. Count to 10 backwards. Everyone, everybody. PSA, we look for a reason to condemn each other. Why that is, I don't know. Someone told me, well, Dante, have you ever looked at the factor that we're holding each other accountable? Oh, really? I just told you about a movie, a Hollywood-based movie called Quiet Place, where a black woman was the lead, but she had someone come and cape her that was the opposite hue. This ain't hate. But if you look at the damn movie, it speaks for itself. Why is this the case for a damn blockbuster? We just couldn't have that narrative, could we? Back to our program. Don't come for BET. And it's not like I'm even running bell for black entertainment television. But at some point, when are you going to start supporting anything that has something to do with black? Black entertainment television is a damn good start, if you ask me. Now, I'm not saying it's the best in the world, right? I'm not saying it's PBS. I'm not saying it's public broadcast. I am saying it's black entertainment television. So a lot of people, all this cussing on BET. Oh my gosh, Kurt Franklin was there. And Dr. Bobby Jones was there. Oh my gosh, all these ladies with the skin show. It's black entertainment television. Now, those from the Caribbean, if you've ever heard of Carnival, you know. So why is it that when our sisters tell you in the wintertime that it's going to be hot girl summer, we bring all of our eyes and ears to the hot girl summer? And these girls been in the gym. They've been doing Pilates. They've been doing yoga. They've been boxing. They've been kickboxing. And I'll be damned if they ain't been getting their ass kicked. So if a woman want to come out in a dental floss and some high heel ballet shoes, then damn it, let her come out in what she want to come out in. Let her come out in what she want to. See, you know what the problem is? We try to dictate what other people do, and some of y'all just couldn't stomach the fact that it was hot girl summer. Let's just call it what it is. And it was black entertainment television. So black entertainment television and hot girls, right? Pardon me, women. Pardon me, ladies. but y'all was running it, and y'all was looking damn good doing it. Now, let me state this. For those out there may be coming for the visual aspect, I do see the art form. This ain't the Dom, the dirty old man speaking, okay? I know when to turn my head. I know when to take focus off of certain things because I know what you're doing. Fellas, let me serve notice. All that twerking you seen on the BET Awards, that wasn't for us. That wasn't for us. That was the ladies empowering each other. That I work hard for this here. I run this here. What you see, this body, I run this. Speaking for the woman that's displaying that. Fellas, you got to be man enough to go, I see you, but you ain't looking, but I see you. I see you. Go ahead, ladies. Must sit on the beat. All right. Okay. All right. I see. First of all, look at the age factor, right? Don't be the dirty old man going, ooh. Nah, don't be that guy. That's disgusting. I can't even be around certain men like that. But let me get back to the point because I'm on one. I'm going to try to keep it cute, but a lot of people are coming for BET. Another PSA, and also let me serve notice on the hate. Everyone, everybody, when was the last time you read your cable TV rules and regulations? It's cable TV. It's not free over-the-air antenna TVs, right? It's not your basic news at 5. And 50 million commercials with JJ on them and Colonial and all of these all the sucker things that they try to get you in debt. This is cable TV. You're going to hear a little filth, flooring filth, as Bill Cosby said in his right mind day. Or as I put at the beginning of the pod, you may hear an expletive. Don't hold me to it. It's not free TV. Okay? You pay for it, right? They're guidelines. Read your cable guidelines and contract. The FCC, yes, the Federal Communications Commissions have rules, get this, for indecency and profanity that don't apply to cable, satellite TV, and radio. I'll say that again. The FCC have rules for indecency and profanity that don't apply to cable, satellite TV, and radio. Guess why? Because we the suckers. We pay for it. It's a paid subscription and their services. So at some point, somebody has to deliver, right? Do you remember when Luther Campbell, prophet, from the gospel group 2 Live Crew, the book of Luke, y'all know what it is. And if you laughing out there, you're going to hell, right? But Bishop Luther Campbell, right? From the journey to Freaknik. Well, let me stop before I go to hell, right? But do y'all remember when Luke and the 2 Live Crew were banned in the USA? Do you remember they took them to the Supreme Court, right? When they had all the CDs out bashing them, right? And they got banned. But because Bishop Luther Campbell knew his rights, well, he went and fought it. And victory was prevailed. I'm bugging, but it was a moment in hip hop that we should remember. Hence why you see a lot of badges at the bottom right of a record, badges at the bottom left of the CD. I don't know if they have so much right now on your streaming services, but there should be some parental advisory and warnings to certain lyrics and guidelines. There are paid services, and based on your rights and amendments, you do have a right to express yourself in certain forms. And I'll say this. Haters, if you don't like it, do that right there. And y'all don't know what that is because that used to be the television knob. But do this. Hit the remote, right? And now you can speak into it, right? Turn on the gospel network, right? Turn on what feeds your brain when it comes to time that you have to waste. Don't kill BET. But regarding the lovely Taraji P, y'all killed her too. What they got this old broad up here for, man? Man, Fly should have been up there. They should have put Fly on the joint. Talking about DC Young Fly, right? He is hot. I think he is worthy of a spot as a host. I think the 85 South boys in general could do a trio and partner and host. If I'm not mistaken, they did host something. I can't remember what it was, but you guys comment down below if you do remember. But regarding the lovely Taraji P. Henson, fall back. Y'all ain't seen 53 look this good in a minute or so, right? Back in the 60s and the 70s, a lot of our Hollywood and a lot of our singers, your Diana Rosses, right? Your Dionne Carrolls, right? Your Lena Hornes of the world. Now, they were up there in age, but they looked fantastic. But get off Taraji P. Taraji's 53 years old. When was the last time y'all saw someone 53 years old look like that, sound like that, and rock like that? I'll wait. But give her props, as some would say, looking like a whole snack up there. And I'll say this, for those of you who are coming for her and the BET Awards, hey, live shows are much, much different than a pre-recorded broadcast. So fall back. Did you notice also that the focus was more on R&B and pop than rap? Part of the black entertainment culture, I would say. There's so much more, but this wasn't a hip hop awards. So for some of you that say, man, they didn't have no rappers in that joint. Well, no rappers in the joint. You know what I'm saying? I was looking for some heat. I couldn't get no heat. All these women. Man, they had women up there for the Lifetime Achievement Award. All they had was women up there, rightfully so. Didn't they tell y'all in the wintertime that it was going to be hot girl summer? Didn't Usher serenade damn near every woman in the country with his residency in Vegas? Didn't he tell you, hey, ladies, hey, I can't hit that falsetto like them boys, but didn't he serenade every damn woman in America who paid to go up there and get serenaded? So what's wrong with these women being up there killing it? Now, Childish, a la Donald Glover, my man, I don't mean to fan out, but yo, you're a triple threat, homie. You can act, you can rap, you can sing your ass off. If you don't believe me, go look up Childish Gambino, Feels Like Summer. That joint right there. And Saturday, he got two songs that I want y'all to go hear. I think it's Feels Like Summer and Saturday. And when you look for Saturday, go look for the live Saturday Night Live version, right? So I hate to do this because you know when the creator makes them, he makes them individually with one fingerprint, right? That's unique than everybody else's. But you got to put Childish Gambino on a level with Pharrell. And maybe it hey, listen, I don't want to blow the man up. And I'm not riding, but I will say this. Him coming out, doing a rendition of what he did in tribute and in lieu of Usher was phenomenal. But I'll have to ask you guys this. Is it true that rap is now pop? Or is it just the fact that some rappers do fit in a pop category? Both things can be true. It's just a question for you guys out there. Usually because when we think hip hop, we forget about the DJ. Right? Hey, Mr. DJ. Last night a DJ saved my life. Spinderella's not a fella. Right? So a lot of times we forget the aspect of two turntables and a microphone. Right? We forget the elements of graph writing. Right? We forget the elements of spoken word. Right? Shout out to Rashad the poet. You out there killing it, my man. I see you. I see you. Right, the last poets, right? Some MCs, right? Yasin Bey, Talib Kweli, right? Q-Tip. We forget sometimes that these spoken word artists can put a jazz beat on, Nas, right? Behind a jazz beat and just smoke it. They'll just smoke it. One last thing and I'm out of here. Lauryn Hill was on time or was she not? We don't know. Could that have been why the award show was so long? Because we did impromptu for her arrival, but I would say when she came out and delivered. Now, a lot of people don't realize this level and maturation of Lauryn Hill, but one thing that I will say is she's still phenomenal. Don't come for her. Okay? Embrace her in all of her greatness. As a matter of fact, the miseducation of Lauryn Hill is still in rotation. If you don't believe me, listen to it. I guarantee you go from the start of the record to the end of the record without repeating, without fast forwarding, without rewinding. I bet you'll listen to the whole thing and then listen to the whole thing again. It's one of those storytelling albums for the decades. Now, I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to talk politics because I'll be honest with you. I've been doing this whole campaign about vote, vote, vote. Make sure you're registered. Listen, even Juneteenth, I talked about our ancestors, doing it for our ancestors. And yes, and once again, yes, they fought, bled, died, marched, and made it possible for you and I to have the ability to vote. And let me set this up this way. Some people are saying they're not voting. That's your prerogative. I do ask you at least go to the polls. And if you're not going to vote, damn it, I can't tell you what to do, but can you take 5 people in lieu of you not voting to go vote? And I'm not just saying pull the trigger, right? I'm not just saying pull the switch. I am saying do your research in the campaigns of each candidate, Lord have mercy, and find out what it is in their policy that may suit your everyday lives, your economical lives, or the lives of your children, or the lives of your children's children. There are policies in place that may affect the next time you get pulled over. There are policies in place that once you turn a certain age, going to the military, there are policies that in place that may impact childbirth, child delivery, termination of a child. Again, trigger warning for those who have had to endure any of those things where the outcome may not have been what was expected. But this outcome may determine that. This outcome may determine how one gets immunity. This outcome may determine when the floodgates are open at your local prisons. This may determine the outcome of how THC is distributed and being legal or not legal. This may determine that pothole that's out on your local street. So it's not just about Donald J. and Joseph Biden, presidents, that is. But let me just get in on this because I'm on my summer schedule for my podcast, so I haven't talked to you guys in a minute. But let me get into this dialogue for 1 second and just talk about the presidential debate. Everyone, everybody, this is a rematch, and this is America. Don't catch me slipping up, but this is America. Hey, this is America. Don't catch me slipping up. Let me not get into too much of the jokes or the entendres, but one thing that I will say is the presidential debate, you guys have already heard all the commentary, right? You've heard all the barbershop talk, but let me just try to give you guys a POV, right? Or let me give you a vantage point that you may not have thought of. My takeaway, it is what it is. One thing that I can say was controlled was there was not sneers and jeers. There was no audience. So it was pretty much hosted by the cable news network, CNN, right? By 2 anchors that I really do appreciate seeing their honesty. But for some odd reason in this, they were puppeted, right? There were strings on their backs, arms, and even their vocal cords. Because as moderators, as dual moderators, there was only so much that they did, but they did their job, and a lot of people killed them for that. So the rules were, if I allot candidate A 1-minute time slot, and candidate B wants to respond with a 1-minute time spot, candidate B can respond to the question that's asked by the moderators, or candidate B can use his 1-minute time box to respond to candidate A. A lot of people was going, Trump never answered anything. Biden was just rambling. Listen, it is a presidential debate. And I want to point out that this is nothing new. We've seen this before, right? And you have to understand the tactics of debate. Right? It's not to get under, it's to get above, right? You're winning the audience of the people by saying, I've stood next to my competition and I destroyed him or her, right? This is what that was about. It was a puff contest, right? It was who could puff the most. And I'll be honest with you, let me just go ahead and give you the end result of what I thought Trump won the debate. Say what you want, call it what a TI is. I'm not here to sway your vote. Trump won the debate. Why? He was poised and he was prepared. Did Trump stay in pocket? I don't know. He was like a ship without a sail, if you ask me, right? According to the journal Analytics and Fact Checking from POTUS, Donald J. Trump, He was poised and he was calm. That's what I appreciated about him in the debate. But he did go outside of the truth and was denied direct questions that were given to him. But we know his makeup. Let's just call it what a TI is. Donald J. Trump knows how to play the game. It ain't even about chess nor checkers no more. Stop using that analogy. The man knows how to play politic and money games, right? And then when it comes to charging people, right? Leadership, right? You want to either bang the desk with leadership or you want to lead by example, right? There's several different types, but Trump is one that could tell you that water's free and air is free. And you believe it. And you'll go out here sucking air like there's no price to pay for that. No, somebody had to lose a life for that air that we breathe. No, somebody had to lose a life while testing that water that we drink, right? But he'll convince you that it's free, right? And current president, Joe Biden. Somebody asked me why. But what led to that was I felt sorry for him. Somebody said, why? Here's why. From the moment when you picked up a ball and jack for you old school heads, or some of you wildflower babies, when you rode that tricycle or that green machine, or for some of you technology heads that came up in the era of Nintendo, when you first played that video game, or for some of you later, when you start to see Teletubbies, Thundercats, when you start to see the rise of The Simpsons, when you start to see the rise of SpongeBob, and for these new cats, when you start to see the pride in Paw Patrol, no matter what it was, if you started something as a child and the maturation led you to do something that you've done and it's been one thing, notice how in this day and age we have to shift and even make a paradigm shift into the things that we love and even the things that we like. If you've done that thing your whole life, and then you're on full nationwide display of a debacle, a derail, and an unhinged, untimed, poor motor skills response. I felt bad for him. Somebody said, why? You ought to feel bad for this country. At one point, the man made sense. Just like at one point, Donald J. Trump made sense to some of us who knew him prior to The Apprentice and as a TV personality. When you saw him with Don King at the Trump Plaza for the fights, we thought that it was rich, and it was money walking. And I want to be like the Trumps. I want to be like Scarface. I want to be like so-and-so Gotti. You remember those wannabe likes, right? Did you really want to be like that, right? You better be careful as to who you aspire to be like because you don't know what's really inside of that person. And I'll just say this. Like Mike and Paul McCartney said, there's good and bad in everyone. When we learn to hey, listen, I ain't about to get into the song and jack it up, but there's good and bad in everybody. Or was that Stevie and Paul? I may have it mixed up, but y'all remember Ebony and Ivory, right? There's good and bad in everyone. Did I say Mike? I had that wrong. Stevie and Paul. On my piano. Oh, okay. Y'all got it, right? There's good and bad in everyone. Right? But it was almost hard to watch, right? So much to the point where the analytics are saying that current president Joe Biden should really back out. But some are just saying, hey, he just had a bad night. But I thought it was a sad moment in American history when our presidential candidates, I'm saying our because a lot of times y'all want to deny that. If you're a citizen of the United States of America, they were your candidates. Whether you vote or not, you are a tax-paying citizen. Maybe not, right? You're not a PPP loan citizen. No, you live on U.S. soil. You fought for your ability to be in what we call the free world, right? So your candidates, not just mine, not those that are voting, your candidates, if you're not eligible to vote, maybe something happened where you're not eligible to vote, but you live in the U.S. I don't know if it's with some paperwork or some temporary paperwork until then, but you're on U.S. soil, right? Which means it's either a desire, it's a contract, or it's your choice to be here. It is what it is in this day and time. In this day and time. I'll say it again. In this day and time. Right? People have established generations and generations in the United States of America. Some not by choice. I got to put that out there. It's a sad truth, but it is what a TI is. Right? But your presidential candidates, it's a sad day in American history. Right? When our presidential candidates are not so presidential. It shows the vulnerability and the volatility of the integrity, the democracy, and the Constitution. They all be in that state. But let's not stop there, right? So a lot of you going, this dude is a gangster. He's sitting up here debating for the presidency when he got these charges on him, when he got this paperwork out here. Check this out. You got it. In 248 years of the history of the U.S. Supreme Court, they've never ruled on this. Immunity. Okay, look, I didn't want to go there, but a little one-on-one. There are three branches of government, right? You have your legislative, your executive, and your judicial. The legislative, they make the laws, right? The executive carries them. And then the judicials abide by them and evaluates the laws, right? And right now, it's on the judicial portion, right? And in this case, the eyes are on the judges. And who am I talking about? Let me just remind you of the big three, right? Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, I like beer. Kavanaugh, I like beer. That's what he said. And Amy Coney Barrett, right? These are three that were appointed by the former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. So if I had to give you guys a look, see, and a feel, here's what it looked like. You have three of the U.S. Supreme Court that's with the liberal wing. And then you have six that are with the conservative wing, right? So what does that do if Trump is looking for a way out? He has some immunity because of the way that the Supreme Court chairs are weighed. And if I got that wrong, I can be fact checked and I'll take accountability for it. Because I'm not coming in here as a subject matter expert on politics, but I am saying I've done a little damn research. Okay? And for those of you that are killing debate in total, all presidents have a debacle or a fumble, Freudian slips, lies. You know, they've all had some type of fumble during debates. For those of you who thought President Obama was Superman, well, let's just go to President Obama and his take on the most recent presidential debate. And I quote, "Bad debate nights happen. Trust me, I know. But this election is still a choice between someone who has fought for ordinary folks his entire life and someone who only cares about himself," end quote. And he goes on further just to say the debate didn't change that. And this is why it's much at stake in November, end quote. And that was by former President of the United States, Barack Obama. It is what it is. Could it be privilege? One thing that I will tell you, and y'all told on yourself, I don't know if y'all picked up on this, but a lot of people were laughing at the golf joke. But maybe you missed it. They play golf together. Damn that handicap on golfing, and I will play with you, and I will challenge you if you carry your own bag. Mickey Ficky, y'all play golf together. That's what you said. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Hey, let me get out of here. I promise I didn't mean to be so lengthy today, but I was on one and I tried to keep it cute. But I'll be honest with you, potting is therapeutic for me. But skipping over to the NBA with the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James. With the 55th pick, of the 2024 draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James. Let me ask y'all a question. And of course, it's rhetorical because it's a monologue. But without LBJ, does Bronny get drafted? Does he even get a McDonald's jersey? Probably not. The buzzword going around is nepotism. Some people, a la Bomani Jones, love him. Love Bomani. Love Bomani. He's calling this some bull jive. He's calling this some straight up sucker-ish. We got to call out GMs, owners, club owners, board members, investors, legends in the game. Across any sport, we've seen nepotism. But now, when we see LBJ, nepotism, it's nepotism. LeBron has created something and has earned the right to govern those proceedings, right? I don't think I ever was with King James. I remember when Shay Sharp was calling him GOAT James. I kind of liked that because it had a swagger to it. But King James, I didn't really get into that idolatry, right? King James, as in the King James version in basketball. I was like, hey, yo, hold up. But I will say this, and I will say it took me some time to get to love LeBron James as a competitor. A lot of people hate LeBron James. They just hate him. They just naturally hate him. Hey, that's okay, right? If you want to be a hater towards something, we all are haters towards something, but some people just naturally hated LeBron and couldn't find a reason why. I used to have hate for Peyton Manning because he perfected the pocket of a quarterback and he managed the game and clock. And I just hated the fact that he would come down and whip up on you. Some people hated Tom Brady. I've never hated Tom Brady. Now, I hated what he did to my Falcons in the daggum Super Bowl. Another pod, another day. I keep telling y'all, I got a story to tell about that damn Super Bowl. You haven't even heard a story until I give you this story on the Super Bowl. If you want to hear about this Super Bowl, Falcons versus the Patriots, please let me know. I'll give it to you, but it'll be a sad day for me. But nonetheless, he was one that I hated on as an athlete. But at the same time, I appreciated his competitiveness, his ability. Omaha. I remember when Coach Dungy, it was like third or fourth down, Coach Dungy was bringing on a kicking unit. And Peyton Manning did Coach Dungy like this. I thought that was blatant disrespect towards a black coach, an older black coach. Peyton, what are you doing? Get out. Oh, man, that's disrespect on stage, on display. How dare him? But I'd be damned if he didn't make the right decision by shooing the kicking unit off, saying, I got it. My faith, my confidence. I'm certain that this is going to work. Blue 38, Omaha, he's the mic. Omaha said hut. Bow, they got the first down. Clock management. Crowd goes wild. You cannot hate on that. I used to not like, and I'm going to say hated on, Kobe Bean Bryant, rest his soul, and his daughter, rest their souls. But I used to hate Kobe. He was so arrogant. Remember he was dating Brandy and he had the afro, right? When he was taking Brandy to the prom, I was like, who this dude think he is? Right? And then the blank situation, y'all know where it was on the map when he was getting therapy, right? And he wanted a break. He got broke off a piece of that blank. And I couldn't stand the dude. But he turned out to be an assassin. Right? Redemption. You remember the late Bob Marley taught us about that? Right? I couldn't stand Kobe Bean. Couldn't stand him. But I'd be damned if the dude said, I'm going to fix my life and I'm going to show the world that I can reinvent myself. Rest in peace, Black Mamba. Rest in peace, Black Mamba. Rest in peace, Black Mamba. That got us. Even K.Dot at the Pop Out joint talked about it's been a minute since we've had unity and since we've had a chance to celebrate since Kobe died, since Nip died, right? It was beautiful to see that love out there out west. But back to Bronny. And here's my question to you. And I want to get out of here, right? But it's so much to talk about, so little time. Here's my question to you guys. And this question is to you, whoever you are as my audience member today, right now, this moment in time. Yes, you. It's your son, your baby, right? Your little one, the one that you fed Gerber to, the little one that your wife, not girlfriend, your wife, not side piece, your wife, not the oops, not a one night, right? Your wife, not your baby mama, your wife carried this child. They conceived, they birthed this child. You raised this dude. This is your firstborn. If you were LBJ, what would you do? I got to get out of here. Hey, how are you guys enjoying your summer, right? I'm really enjoying mine. And I'll say every now and again, and I hate to be so cliche in the spirit of K.Dot, but every now and again, you got to pop out and show. Right? But it's okay. I will say this. It's okay for mental stability and also to recharge, right? Some devices, some humans, it takes longer than others to recharge. They're full of things. They're full of information. They're full of creativity. So that charge time may be a little bit more than instantaneously. It may be more than an instant charge. It may be more than a lightning charge, right? So I will say this. You've kind of seen less pods here over the course of the weeks. Rightfully so, I'm charging. And the only way for me to uncharge is for me to unplug, right? So it could be a facet of me not coming back on the pod until August. Rightfully so. But I'm not coming back. I'm coming better. But in the spirit of K.Dot, if something go on and my pod instinct or intuition tells me pop out and show, I'm going to do just that. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to do just that. I love this thing called podcasting. So I'll tell you and I encourage you, if there's something on your heart or your desire, don't do it for clout. But put the camera in front of you. You don't have to have the technology, right? I'm not saying that mine is the greatest. There's cats out here smoking my boots when it comes to this, but yours don't have to be like mine. Just START and get going, right? Be your authentic self, right? I remember somebody reached out to me and said, hey, do you do those in one take? Of course I do. I'm talkative, right? I have a gift of gab, if you will, not to be taken in an arrogant fashion, but I'm pretty proud of my ability to make a subject and verb agree when it's necessary, when it's the right time, not always right. And just because you pod don't mean that you're perfect, or just because you pod don't mean that you have knowledge of everything, right? It just means that you're passionate about something and you want to get your blank off. And I encourage you, it could be books, it could be movie reviews, it could be show reviews, whatever the case may be. I know some beautiful humans, right? From all facets of life. And I listen to mostly podcasts now than I do music. Now, house music is in full rotation. I'm going to tell you that right now, right? But I will say podcasting is becoming a music interest of mine where I love different forms and takes of life, right? Even through the corporate space, I do this, right? Even when it comes to my community, I do this. You guys may only see hëDØNižm, right? But I do this and I enjoy it. I love making a difference. Let me just turn right back around. I should have did this in the front of the pod. And sorry it's so lengthy. It's been a minute. Don't hold me to it. You guys know what it is. I'm just here to pod. But let me go back to Juneteenth because I haven't talked to you guys since then. Not too much on the time box. But shout out to Atlanta news station for covering the Juneteenth parade. A lot of people didn't realize there was a Juneteenth parade in Atlanta. But shout out to Atlanta local news stations for covering the Juneteenth parade. It was a beautiful event. If you were not there, you missed it. But then again, the turnout was extremely light. But it was just the fact that in places like Atlanta, and maybe your city or community where you were, had some sort of acknowledgement for Juneteenth. However you slice it or dice it, there was a parade that displayed involvement of our community. And I thought it was fantastic. And also that they televised it. And you saw all of the anchor persons in relaxed gear, honoring Juneteenth, and just and put it in a celebration form as something to be positive. There are a lot of unhinged people right now in this world. There is nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing wrong with finding a way to find Juneteenth in a celebratory format. A lot of people feel like you can't celebrate Juneteenth, right? If it's going to be positive and uplifting for a collective of individuals, then so be it. Then so be it. With the weight of the world right now, it's always good to see something positive. So again, if you have had sleepless nights on creating a pod, just put that phone in front of you. Just get in front of a inexpensive camera and go. Don't worry about the audio quality. These are things that I love to do. So my passion is going to make space for the things that I love. And that's no exception for quality as to what you see. It can be better, but there's no exception for startup level quality versus some people that have full blown extreme production. Now, don't call me no chump when it comes to this space. But one thing that I will say is it takes teams and teams and teams of people for preparation, live records, dry runs, and post editing. I do all of that myself. Not to brag, but because I love it. And again, if I was doing it for a check, would I enjoy it as much? I don't know. I've yet to see that. Right? But with that being said, if you're doing it for the money, you may not find the enjoyment in it. So get out and do what you love. Have fun. Enjoy. Be safe this summer. If you don't see me in the next 2 weeks, you will see me in August. We're in the age of cancel culture, judged by the court of public opinion. And some of you have been quiet out there. And I'm talking about those with certain statuses. We know y'all laying low, and it's okay for us to miss you for a minute. Let me just say that. Get better. Get your mind right. But you know what it is. These streets judged by the court of public opinion. In today's pod, I was careful with my words, but just in case I dropped a noun, an adjective, a pronoun, or even an expletive that was out of place, right? Going out and vote. Show up at the polls. And again, if you're not going to vote, go take 5 people in your absence, right? Don't hold me to it. You guys know what it is. I'm just here to pod. Hey, guys, enjoy your summer, or you may see me in 2 weeks. God bless.